My name is Masi, and by profession, I'm a counseling psychologist, but I'm currently working for the Rooi and Foundation as the managing director there. I also work for Rooi in the space of gender-based violence. I'll start with Koleka.
Okay, I'm Koleka, Putuma. I am a theatre practitioner, I'm a poet and a writer. That's me. That's what I do.
Leanne?
I'm Leanne van Rooi. I'm an actor and a director and a producer and a teacher and recently a writer.
Oh, wow.
Newbie writer.
Those are such big titles. I'm excited to have you guys here. I thought we could start with a general question of what have been your experiences as individuals living in South Africa in this current climate of gender-based violence and femicide?
Well, I guess I would say maybe the everyday in South Africa is a gender-based violence encounter in South Africa, particularly as women. When we walk, when we take Ubers, wherever, in spaces wherever you have to kind of consider yourself and your body in relation to men or in the absence of other bodies, I guess is the everyday experience. Well, for me anyway. And even in spaces where you would think, oh, this space is chilled or this space is safe, it's still something to consider all the time. I went to the police station just the other day to get something certified, and I was like crossing fingers and praying to God that like the other person who would assist me would be a woman, just because like to negotiate with a man is always just too much, and then you end up like just psychologically by the time you get home you're like just so tired and you just negotiate with a lot. So I guess that would be kind of like the first thing. It's just like that everyday negotiating with yourself, your body, and men, I guess.
For me, Masi, it would be the feeling of being smothered in the daily life. A tiny action like driving a car and not being seen on the road, or being seen and being hooted at, or just trying to feel like there's no space for women. There isn't a space. And besides there being a space within society, the spaces that are created or that are populated by everybody is generally not safe. And thinking about that, also my interest and my fight and my striving to have a voice within gender-based violence and femicide and the whole movement is the fact that I'm a mother of a 13-year-old girl. And I'm really worried about what the world is going to look like in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, in 15 years' time for her. Because it's going to need to be a space that I know that I would have helped to perhaps make a little bit more safe and a little bit more clear for her.
Thank you for that answer. For both of you, I think I find it very interesting that generally the theme is feeling like you have to survive more than just live in society and in our communities that we come from. And I'm just wondering, when did that come about? Has South Africa always been this unsafe, this unsure, this violent towards women and children? When did your negotiation to just in the space of living start for you both? If I can start with Leanne this time.
Where does one start? Not being acknowledged as a girl when you're born. We can start there. We can start with wanting to ride a bike, and I'm speaking about my own circumstances here, wanting to ride a bike and kind of my father going, yeah, okay, but, like getting a girl bike. I'm like, well, what's wrong with that bike? I can ride that too. Having to constantly say, it's okay, I can do this. It's okay, I can do this. And everything that is available to you or to the world always has an attachment to it, but you're a girl. And you always having to go, it's okay, I got this, I can do this. Uncles, friends, hands on bum, hands on your body all the time in unwanted places where you have to fight them off. And very early on in my life, I learned to say, I'm going to tell my mommy. I'm going to tell my mommy. And my uncle's going, just joking. And to such an extent that when my daughter was born, I've had to teach her from the beginning what to say and how to do as a mother. From the very beginning, she is not free in her body, and the thing that I would love for her to be is completely free in her body. But living in South Africa, I can't, because I know that she needs to at some point go back into Mitchell's play, that she needs to go wherever she is in a schooling environment, even at home with people that come in and people that go. It's a constant eye, a constant surveillance, a constant security check that we need to do over our children. And it shouldn't have to be like that. They're children, and they're girl children. They should be allowed to experience the world as beautifully and as wonderfully and as magically as one would as a child. But the world is not available to them in that way.
And for you, Koleka?
I would say, yeah, that for me would be the first sort of memory of that, like being equipped by the time that you can talk and walk, that like, don't do this, don't go here. If you're alone in a room with so-and-so at the family gathering, just like, these are the things that you need to do, these are the things that you need to say. Just that constant like reinforcement of like your safety and also what you need to do in the event that you should end up in a space where you're not safe. And it was never so much like what should the other person do to ensure your safety, which was also the other thing that like where my mind kind of started to program or was programmed to see that like things were not safe for girl children in this country was like this thing of like the curfew. That curfews for girl children and curfews for boys are not in the same WhatsApp group, like you have to be back at a certain time. You can't be out too late. You can't be out too late in this place, you can't just be, your body can't be roaming around in the dark in certain spaces, and so that being told to you over and over again, you start to get the sense that like, oh, okay, like there's always a looming danger, like I'm not safe, and if I do this, then there will be a consequence for my not listening, my not adhering to the curfew, my not adhering to the advice and the tools that we are equipped with as girl children. And so all of that stuff just kind of start to realize, oh, it's not a safe place.
And coupled with what Koleka was saying as well is the fact that if you don't adhere to it, you're the guilty one. You're the one at fault. You're the one to blame for what happened or what would possibly or could possibly happen to you. So all the time, as girls, as women, we are boxed. And for our own good. And I think as artists, one of the ways in which we work very well is if we're not boxed. In fact, we climb out of the box. That is our job. So for some people and for some women, it works well that they are boxed. But it doesn't work for me. And I know for my sister here, definitely not too.
Sure. That's interesting. It's interesting hearing from both of you that it kind of started during childhood, and you've kind of been burdened with the idea of protection, self-protection, and making sure that you're not in the wrong places at the wrong time.